This is the future.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Warframe video. This time around, we will talk about Kullervo and how nasty this Warframe is after the Whispers in the Walls update. But before that, I would like to make a huge shout out to a Reddit user who inspired me in doing this video. I saw a Reddit post 3 days ago about Kullervo having 16.3 times critical damage multiplier, and I'm honestly stunned when I saw this while sitting at 9.2 times critical damage multiplier with my melee weapon right now. This is insane for Kullervo since we all know that this Warframe is a monster when it comes to red crit melee builds. Having that huge amount of critical damage multiplier means we can hit millions of damage with the right melee and builds in our arsenal. In addition, we have the Tenno-Kai mechanic right now, which gives us free heavy attack without consuming the combo counter of our melee weapon. Just imagine how nasty the critical hit of a melee weapon wielded by Kullervo. The Reddit post only featured the Grand Prime as the melee weapon, but mind you, the heavy melee weapon only has a base critical damage multiplier of 2.6%, and the Reddit user says that he is already hitting millions of red crit hits on enemies, which is really broken to be honest. Just imagine melee weapons with 3 times critical damage multiplier and with high riven dispositions such as the Incarnon Dual E-Core. I'm sorry if I can't show you a gameplay since I still don't have the Incarnon melee yet, but I did try it with other melee weapons, and one of my favorite melee in the past called the Prisma Dual Cleavers. The Prisma Dual Cleavers has 3 times critical damage multiplier that it can achieve more critical damage multiplier through the use of the new Violet Tau Forged Archon Shard. This shard has a buff wherein it will give 25% more critical melee damage when you equip the normal variant and 37% critical melee damage if you equip the Tau Forged. The best part is the critical damage bonus gets doubled when you have over 500 energy in your Kullervo build, which can easily be obtained by using the Prime Flow mod. With this, I was able to ramp up my critical damage from my Prisma Dual Cleaver to 15.7 times. This is by having one normal and one Tau Forged version of the Violet Archon Shard paired with the Gladiator Might, Organ Shatter, and a critical damage Riven mod. Just imagine how much critical damage multiplier it can give when there are 5 Violet Tau Forged Archon Shard in my Kullervo. So how about the damage in real mission? While I'm not hitting constant 200 million damage as it's more of a fast attack incorporated with Tenno-Kai heavy build, I was still able to hit 180 million plus critical damage and averaging from 9 million to 90 million red crit per heavy attack while my combo counter is at max. The fast attack of my Butcher Knife also feels overpowered as it only takes one swing to somehow kill trash mobs easily in Steel Path Conjunction survival. But the most satisfying melee weapon I used with a Violet Shard Kullervo is the Azothane, which blueprint can be purchased in Teshin's Cave for 50 Pathos Clamp or 250 Platinum. Purchasing using the former will unlock the Drifter compatible version and the blueprint for a Warframe compatible version, while purchasing using the latter will unlock both versions. This Duviri melee weapon is satisfying to use right now with Kullervo, and it shred enemies like they are just made of paper. And mind you, I'm just doing regular attacks and not any heavy attacks most of the time. Before, I did not even mind doing a video about this Duviri melee because I really hate the Wise Razor stance for dual-wielded Nikana in Warframe, but right now you can completely ignore the stance because of its raw power. Another great reason to use this right now is the Disciplines Merit Exilus mode that activates Tenno-Kai technique, and every 4 hits you have the opportunity to do the Tenno-Kai heavy attack without consuming your combo count. Also, the new melee arcane called Melee Exposure is really great with this Kullervo synergy since my build is tailored towards a caster Warframe and I can have the corrosive damage from the arcane, which adds to my overall damage with the help of Condition Overload. Not to mention that I also have Nourish in my Kullervo build that grants viral damage to my melee weapon, so without modding for any element of my melee weapon, I can still have 2 guaranteed combined element with Melee Exposure Arcane and the Nourish ability. In addition, the latter will also provide overflowing energy regeneration when I pair it with the Zenurix Wellspring ability. Another great thing about Kullervo right now is his Overguard is a great survivability tool because of the changes that Digital Extremes made to this layer of defense. Aside from the full status immunity that Overguard gives you, it also now has the depletion protection similar to shields, wherein player Overguard will now offer a brief moment of invulnerability, which is currently 0.5 seconds once depleted. This window will prevent players with Overguard from being one-shot, as damage to Overguard will no longer carry over into your health or shield pool once depleted. With Kullervo Kullervo's recompense ability paired with the overflowing energy from Zenuric and Nourish, you can abuse this mechanic and keep Kullervo alive. Lastly, you might ask why I go over 600% critical chance bonus on my Wrathful Advance and then added more critical chance in my melee builds when the only requirement to red crit is 300%. Well, in case you don't know, we have this thing in Warframe called crit tiers. Beyond the first tier of red crits, there are other tiers of critical hit which can be monitored through the number of exclamation point that a critical hit has. Regarding the difference between tiers, every subsequent tier is basically a critical hit on critical hit, which means that a crit damage multiplier is applied again for each tier. Giving more critical chance tier in my build will make all that critical damage multiplier coming from mods and the Violet Archon shards worth it for Kullervo, as it will give you insane red crit numbers with millions of damage in your screen without any help from damage buffs such as Mirage Eclipse ability. Honestly, this is by far the best Kullervo build in Synergy, and I finally have a goal on what to do about this Warframe. Once I maxed out all the Violet Archon shard, paired it with Riven mods, and I will then post an update on how stupid the damage of this build is in the future. Again, I would like to thank your author who made the Reddit post, and I also thank the people for piquing my interest on how busted Kullervo after the Whispers in the Walls update. I hope that you have learned something from this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again in my next Warframe guide. Squad Leader signing off.
This is the future.